from Hollywood, I'm Martin Grove, welcoming you to our Screendollars podcast, Boxoffice Autopsy. Right now, we'll look at the movie marketplace and analyze how things are going and where they're going, sharing some opinions from my perspective after decades of talking about Hollywood on CNN Entertainment Tonight and as a Hollywood Reporter columnist. Tom Cruise may not be a superhero, but he's definitely a superstar, as we saw this weekend with Top Gun Maverick's powerhouse launch, the biggest Memorial Day opening in 15 years, and the all-time best takeoff for a Tom Cruise movie. On today's Box Office Autopsy, we'll cover the jet-powered flight of Paramount and Skydance Media's Maverick, plus Disney and 20th Century's debut of the Bob's Burgers movie, as well as Disney and Marvel's holdover hit Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Weekend 2 of Focus Features' Downton Abbey: A New Era. Also ahead, we'll talk about some tentpoles that will be driving this summer's box office recovery. And in our Oscar Outlook Spotlight, we'll explain why the films winning the summer's box office race stand little chance of getting into Oscar's Best Picture race. But first, who better to begin with than Tom Cruise, without whom there would never have been a Top Gun sequel. Here's Tom explaining why he finally decided to go ahead with Maverick.
I was finally like, this is now or never. And look, I was always there. Everywhere I traveled around the world, they wanted a sequel, and it was just never right. It's just the story wasn't right, but I'd lay there in bed, and I'm constantly thinking about stories, and I was like, okay, what if, how? And I was waiting for technology to be able to catch up to some of the things that I wanted to accomplish. Because in the first one, I flew in the F-14. We had a camera that had 5 minutes of film, and I would turn it on and off. And I waited to see where, and I did American Made. And when I was doing American Made, the aerials, it was always in the back of my mind that if I did Top Gun, what about this? And then McHugh and I did Fallout together, and we were developing those cameras for the helicopters and that aerial sequence. It was all a progression to where we're going. And Kaczynski, when I was doing Oblivion with Joe, he's like, I always talked about Top Gun. I said, Joe, let's make Oblivion right now, And then I was shooting Fallout, and McHugh was talking to me about Top Gun for, 10 years. And it just came together. And it just was like, okay, it is now or never. And I felt like the challenge is there, and maybe we can figure this out.
Moviegoers made Maverick a must-see event, driving ticket sales to $124 million for 3 days and $151 million for the 4-day holiday. Exhibitors were thinking $81 to $92 million for 3 days, although some went up to $125 million for 4 days. Media estimates varied, but generally put the 4-day holiday frame at $92 to $100 million plus, while adding that it could overperform. It sure did. Maverick, which reportedly cost $170 million to produce, was pandemic delayed since 2020. It opened at 4,735 theaters, making it the widest domestic theatrical release ever. It's Cruise's biggest opening ever, easily topping 2005's $64.9 million for War of the Worlds. Media reports early in the weekend said it was now the all-time best Memorial Day weekend opening, but that's not quite the case, as Disney has since then confirmed its 2007 box office treasure Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End did $153 million rather than the $139.8 million per those earlier reports. Nonetheless, Maverick's the best Memorial Day weekend launch we've seen in 15 years, and a clear indication that older moviegoers are happy to return to cinemas if there's something playing they want to see, like Maverick. Helping to give Maverick a turbocharged flight were red-hot Rotten Tomatoes scores, 97% from critics and 99% from audiences, which certainly means great word of mouth to keep it going. Some insights into Maverick's audience are in reports from the market intelligence firm Intelligence. The audience was 56% male and 44% female. By ethnicity, it was 69% Caucasian, 11% African American, 11% Hispanic, 5% Asian, and 4% other. As to what they paid, Intelligence puts the average regular ticket price at $12.86 and the average ticket price for premium format tickets at $16.32. Looking at Saturday's ticket sales, Intelligence said there was heavy matinee traffic with 29% before 3 p.m., 35% from 3 to 7 p.m., 25% from 7 to 9 p.m., and 11% after 9 p.m. Those day-part percentages fit with tracking scores showing older moviegoers were the most eager to see Maverick. And that's another strong indication that the adult audience is now back to moviegoing. Fueled by Maverick, the marketplace expanded to $175.7 million for 3 days, according to ComScore, jumping 126.2% from the prior weekend and up 801.5% versus last year. ComScore's year-to-date tally of $2.66 billion is up over 337% from 2021's $609.4 million. Maverick also scored sizzling international success starting June 22nd with $124 million at about 25,000 screens in 62 markets. That gives it a worldwide cum of $248 million through Sunday. And that's without playing in Russia or China and prior to its Korea opening in a month. Not much of Memorial Day's box office boom came from the holiday weekend's other wide opening, Disney and 20th Century's PG-13 animated comedy adventure The Bob's Burgers Movie, a spin-off of the hit TV series that debuted in 2011. Bob's was grilling in third place at 3,425 theaters with $12.6 million for 3 days and an estimated $15 million for 4. Exhibs had only been expecting $9 to $12 million for 3 days, and media analysts were $10 to $15 million for 4 days. Critics were hot for burgers with 86% on RT, while audiences flipped for it with 95%, pointing to great word of mouth. As for key holdovers, Doctor Strange 2 dropped to second place in weekend 4 with $16.4 million for 3 days at 3,805 theaters and $21.1 million for 4 days. Its domestic cum through Sunday is $375.4 million. Focus Features and Carnival Films' Downton Abbey: A New Era plunged 63% from its opening weekend, making it look like a new era. It placed fourth with $5.9 million for 3 days at 3,830 theaters and $7.5 million for 4 days. Its domestic cum through Sunday is $28.5 million. This quick scene from Downton will help you decide to see it or skip it.
I haven't been up here for years.
Well, this is the situation we're in. With the money, we can bring the house up to snuff to match what we've spent on the estate. And enter the 1930s with our heads held high. But if you don't want to...
No. No, you steer ahead. You're the captain now. I am aware of that, even if you think I'm not.
Now, with Memorial Day weekend going into the record books, we're about to move into the real summer. That wonderful time of the year for exhibitors when kids are out of school and adults are taking vacations. Summer movie going will drive our box office recovery to the point where it can survive the always quieter fall. And then get a big boost from the box office riches that accompany the holiday season. On last week's Box Office Autopsy, we reported that Universal and Amblin Entertainment's Jurassic World Dominion, opening June 10th, had just hit the tracking. Here's a quick scene that shows why those tracking scores are dinosauring.
How are your kids?
Amazing. Grown. It's shocking. They're both in college. Can you believe that?
And Mark?
It's over.
Oh. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I'm back to me and my work. You know, it's
great.
good. It is. I'm alone at last.
Exciting times.
Yeah, I'm living the Alan Grant life. It's just
Can be lonely.
so free.
Allie, you didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
Dominion's clearly on track for dynamite ticket sales. 2 weeks out, its first-choice numbers are best for men over 25, who are more than 4 times norm. Women over 25 are almost as positive and 4 times norm. What's also great is that under 25 men are on board too, and are nearly 4 times norm. The least excited demo, under 25 women, are still more than 3 times norm. Those dinos will definitely get June off on the right foot, and happily other event films will be following in their very large footsteps. Disney and Marvel will be back at the multiplexes starting July 8th with the fantasy action-adventure Thor: Love and Thunder, a safe bet to keep the summer box office momentum going. Here's a quick Thor storyline catch-up.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god. After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. Well, he got in shape. He went from dad bod to god bod. And after all that, he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
Jane? The old ex-girlfriend.
What's it been like? 3, 4 years?
8 years, 7 months and 6 days, give or take.
Am I, sensing feelings?
Well, you're right. The only ones who gods care about is themselves. So this is my vow. All gods will die.
Thor's not on the tracking yet, but it's Mega Marvel material that will benefit from having very high moviegoer awareness. The franchise's last episode, Thor Ragnarok, opened November 3rd, 2017 to $122.7 million. It ended up with $315 million domestic, plus nearly $540 million international, for a worldwide cum of $854 million. With those summer tentpoles in mind, let's turn on our Oscar Outlook spotlight and explore their Best Picture prospects. It doesn't say much for Hollywood that films winning the summer box office race stand little chance of getting into Oscar's Best Picture race. On the heels of Doctor Strange 2 and Top Gun Maverick, we'll also be celebrating mainstream live-action event films this summer like Jurassic World Dominion, Thor, Love and Thunder, and Bullet Train. But when summer ends and we head into the awards season, they'll face an uphill struggle to get Best Picture consideration. They're essentially in the Best Picture deep freeze, because the Academy's heavily expanded global membership just doesn't regard Hollywood tentpoles as Best Pictures. There's a major disconnect between how Oscars far-flung members vote and how moviegoers vote at the box office. The same wrong-headed thinking also influences how other awards givers act. Awards telecast ratings have plummeted because viewers don't see or care about the Best Picture nominees. Academy members are forgetting that without event films, movie theaters would close, killing the biggest market for the pictures that pay many of their salaries. The Academy should remind its cinema snobs worldwide that Best Pictures aren't officially defined as only having shoestring budgets, overseas origins, or streaming financing. Well, that's a wrap for today's podcast, but we'll be here again next week on Box Office Autopsy to check out Weekend 2 of Top Gun Maverick and look ahead to July 4th weekend, which will bring Universal and Illumination Entertainment's PG animated family film Minions: The Rise of Gru. Please come back for all of that then, and for now, thanks for listening. Time now for our film flashback look at what was happening in Hollywood right around now, way back then. Let's set today's time travel dial for June 1st, 1926. In a world where near-naked Kardashian photos don't raise eyebrows on social media, it's hard to imagine Marilyn Monroe's impact as a movie sex symbol in the 1950s and 60s when just seeing her dress blown high in the air in The 7-Year Itch was wildly controversial. Marilyn's real self, Norma Jean Mortensen, was born June 1st, 1926 in Los Angeles, but Marilyn Monroe wasn't invented until August 1946 at 20th Century Fox. Norma Jean, who'd been modeling for pinups and ads, got a screen test at Fox with production executive Ben Lyon. He showed it to studio chief Darryl F. Zanuck, who wasn't knocked out but okayed a 6-month deal just to keep her from signing at RKO. Lyon and Norma Jean created her new self. Lyon chose Marilyn with Broadway's Marilyn Miller in mind, and Norma Jean picked Monroe, her mother's maiden name. After 6 months in Fox's basic training program for acting, dancing, and singing, Marilyn's contract was renewed in February 1947, bringing her some bit parts, but she seemed overly shy, and Fox dropped her 6 months later. By then, she'd made some valuable Hollywood friends, including Fox co-founder Joseph Schenck, whose pal, Columbia Pictures boss Harry Cohn, signed her in March 1948. It was at Columbia that Marilyn got her platinum blonde hair and a look that echoed Rita Hayworth. She starred in the 1948 low-budget musical Ladies of the Chorus, but failed to get the lead in Born Yesterday. Columbia sent her packing in September 1948, but fate stepped in quickly when William Morris agent Johnny Hyde got her small roles in 2 big 1950 films: All About Eve and The Asphalt Jungle. Hyde parlayed her good reviews into a 7-year contract with Fox. He died of a heart attack soon afterwards, but Marilyn was on her way. In 1953, she exploded as Hollywood's top sex symbol with her starring role in Niagara. Women's clubs denounced it as immoral, but that just sold more tickets. Her dumb blonde image started in 1953's musical comedy Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, in a role intended for Betty Grable, Fox's older 1940s blonde bombshell. Years of movie stardom followed, along with failed marriages and front-page struggles with personal demons. Marilyn's untimely end came August 4th, 1962, at 36, nude in bed at home, from what was officially called a barbiturate overdose, but could also have been murder. What really happened is unknown, but with the ongoing controversy, Marilyn's name still lives on 60 years later. And that's it for today's podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with another Box Office Autopsy next week. In Hollywood for Screendollars, I'm Martin Grove.